Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Prosperity is a game that I like and dislike at the same time. What do I like about it? I like the city building aspect of it. I also like that it's a very well designed game. The tiles seemed really imbalanced and all the tiles do something good or something bad for you, which the bad you might not care about as certain aspects of the game. It might not hurt you as much. And that's kind of the push and pull. How is this going to affect me? I want the good of it. I want the good of every tile, of course. But how is the negative going to affect me? And that's really what you have to focus on in this game, is the negativity of what you're doing to the city. How much pollution is it bringing? How much negativity to my cities are bringing? Sure, we want to build, whatever, a stadium. But what kind of crime comes with that? And those are the questions that Prosperity is going to ask you in more of an abstract way. So you're going to have these tracks you're going to be moving up and down. You want the tracks up in order to score points, and down would be a negative aspect of it. And you want them up as much as possible. And you'll be purchasing tiles and drafting these tiles as you go to kind of build the tracks up. And that is the aspect of the game. So it's almost abstract in building the cities. It's not really a conceptual thing that you're doing, but it's really about moving up these tracks. This is a Reiner Knizia game, so must I say more? It's going to have a lot of math in it. And these tracks are fun to go up and down. This is one I reviewed 8 years ago, and it was a keeper. We really had a good time with it. And then we didn't play it for 7 years, and I re-reviewed it in written format, and I concluded that maybe this is a purge for me. It's a good game. It's a very solid game. But with all these games, I can't keep them all. And sometimes good games, not great games, must go. And I think that's where this game would find. Prosperity would find itself in this boathouse of being a good game. Maybe even a little bit better than that for some people, but not a great game. I do really like the aspect of the tiles doing good and bad and having to juggle that. It tickled something in the brain that was very interesting, and I did enjoy it. But the look of the game, it just wasn't enough to keep pulling it off. The game didn't pack enough punch for us, and there were just other things we were pulling off, and we deduced that we'd rather play those games than this, and that can be a death knell of a game. So for us, it's going to be a purge. A tough purge, I might add. Here's Prosperity. You can see it's got kind of a dark city outlook. I kind of like the city. I just wish this was a little bit brighter, but I understand they're trying to bring the pollution into it. I'm going to get a rule book, which we'll look at in a few minutes. This is going to be the scoring track. Now, there is a few issues with this scoring track here, is that the cubes don't fit on them exactly, and one little shake, and you don't know what you have. Nowadays, they have like recessed boards that work a little bit with that. Everybody's going to get a player aid. You have some tracks coming up here. Some pre-printed things. You can see the artwork is a little iffy. It's got double-sided. One is the advanced side, and one is a little bit simpler sides. This is your pollution. Your little black cylinders. But this used to be the heyday of it. The tiles are okay. The icons are easy to read on them. I don't like the artwork particularly on this game. And the rest of it is just a bunch of tiles. The artwork is much to be desired. No kind of insert in the game. Some very generic pieces, but it's definitely a sign of its time. I'm not happy with these trackers. Even the research spots, the cubes don't fit on them in a great way. You got to be very careful about knocking the board. The artwork is ugly. Meh. Here's the rule book. You can see a little bit of introduction on the front. You're immediately going to get symbols over here. This was really helpful when I was playing. A little bit of breakdown of the tile and setup with letters showing you where it is with a picture. There's nice. Game turn, kind of go over. Really, you're going to flip over a tile and score it. This shows you how it's going to score. And these are the actions you have. There are some examples with pictures kind of thrown in here. And an end of game. A little bit of a tip. That's okay. And a breakdown of each of the tiles in the game. What's really nice about this is, like, I didn't know what this was supposed to be. Low impact transmission. Driverless cars, I guess. Waste power. You know, when you start playing this game, the artwork is so poor that it really just becomes about the icon. So the artwork doesn't really matter. But it's kind of nice to know what some of this stuff is supposed to be. And that's an attribute to this. The book probably need about 10 minutes to read through it. I opened this back up, was able to read through it, and play it without any problems. So each player will have a player board like this, and this will be the main board where the score is going to be coming out. This part up here is very easy. You're going to be tracking your victory points. Whoever has the most victory points is the winner of the game. You're also going to have cubes on these track, and as they move up on the research, you're going to be able to buy tiles of different numbers. I'll showcase how that works. You're also going to have two tracks up here. So you're going to have the one with the lightning and the one with the tree as you're going through. So this tells you how much energy that you're using, and this tells you how bad you are for the ecology. You're going to have a pollution track, and the pollution track is going to be used with these cylinders. You're going to be taking them off and putting them on. Anything that's open, like this yellow one, is going to show you how many victory points that you're able to score. Then you're going to have your buildings over here. You're going to have some starter buildings that are printed on here. Once again, this is double-sided. I'm showing you the advanced side, but they pretty much work the same. You're going to have these different buildings. And you're going to be using this tracker as you gain blue or subtract for purple. And you're going to go up on the other one based on the green tree you get, or negative if you get the red tree. That's kind of how that is going to work. When the game starts, you're going to take the tiles that have the earth on the back, and you're going to have a little small number here. It's going to tell you what side it's going to be on. In this case, this one will be on the 3 green. This one will be on the 6 green. And you're going to have different dates on the back. You're going to put all the 1970s on top. You put 1990 after it. And you'll have these in 2010 will be on the bottom. So as you progress through the game, you're going to be getting less powerful ones up into the more powerful tiles. That's how that's going to work. I'm just going to quickly overview the game for you and show you how it's going to work. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the tile off the top, and everybody will score for it. You will look for what has the white border around it. In this case, it's the magnifying glass that's on it. Sometimes you'll see 2 icons, and this one has the earth one that will be on it. And then again, this one doesn't have any icons at the bottom. It's actually this one at the top. There's a few different ways the game will score. It could be for the lightning bolts that you see here, and you'll gain $50 for each number you're above it, or you're going to lose $100 for each number below it. If you're in the negative, if you don't have the money, then you have to add pollution to the board, and that's one way you can get more pollution. Now, if you happen to score the tree, you're going to lose a pollution for each step you are positive, or you're going to gain a pollution for each step that you're in the negative. The other thing you do is you get the research. So just like I showed you on this tile right here, that the research down here is going to, you count up all the research. I got 1. Let's say I had this tile down on my board, and I had 2 research. I can move my cubes up here, 2 research. I can do 1 on each, 2 on 1, or however I see fit. The other possible thing I could score for is the purple euro. You can see here it's white. If that is, I'll count up all the euros on my pad. Let's say I had it something like this. I'd have 1, 2, 3 euros. I would get $300 for my trouble there. The last thing you can score, as you can see on this one, is you will score the yellow earths. Anytime you score the yellow earths, you count them all up. There's some on your pollution track. Sometimes you'll see them on your tiles, and you'll gain that many victory points after that. Now remember, when you flip a tile over, everybody is going to score for it. Then whoever's turn is going to take 2 possible actions. The first action you can do is you can get money. Unfortunately, we have paper money in this game. This will be the money that you see here. The first possible action is I can take $100. I would just gain $100, and that's my action. Second possible action is I could take a pollution off of my board. I just cured some pollution. That's a possible action. The third possible action is I can move up one of my research to a different level. Up 1 spot, and that's a possible action. The fourth action, the one you're going to do most of the time, is you're going to be able to add these tiles to the game. So I'm just going to put these tiles here. This is not where they normally go. They'd go where the number is at, but I just want to show you kind of how this works. Where my tile is, or where my cube is on the research track, I can buy this tile for $100. Anything below it, I could buy for $50. Anything above it, I can buy it for the $100 cost, plus $100 for each level. So if I wanted to buy this one, it'd be $200. Anything in this row would be $300. Anything in this row would be $400. And the same thing would apply on this side. There'll be ones, so the ones with the blue numbers will actually be coming out on this side. So in order for me to buy this one, it cost me $100, $200, $300, $400, $500. That's quite a bit of money. So you probably won't be buying these higher ones until later on in the game. After all of the tiles from the tile have been placed down, that will be triggered the end of the game, then you will score each of these tracks. Score this one twice, you score your victory points and your money all again in the game, and whoever has the most victory points will be the winner. Who should buy this game? I could see a gamer family really getting into this. It plays 2 to 4, and I think it's a little bit above Gateway, but I think a gamer family could pull this one off. Otherwise, it's about an hour length of game, and it gives you some good decisions to make during the game. I think it's going to be appealing to a lot of people. The game kind of falls in the artwork and the graphic arts. You're building these tiles, but really just moving tracks up. And the theme of it loses pretty fast. None of the buildings have names. They're just globs of color on the tile. They really don't mean anything. You're just kind of moving up and down these tracks. I think thematically it loses a little bit. So I would stop just short of saying recommend this for somebody who likes city building. I don't feel like there's a lot of city building in it. You just kind of, what's my plus, what's my negative to this tile, and that's going to be it. Otherwise, a pretty darn good game. If you haven't played this one, I would definitely give you a con. I would say check this one out and play it. I think you'll be happily surprised. Purge for us, unfortunately.